Well, guys, this is not going to be my usual upbeat little quirky introduction that I normally do because I am feeling anything but upbeat right now. In just a minute, I'm going to introduce you, if you don't already know him, to my friend Julian. Julian is a 60-year-old man, a husband, a father of 3 beautiful children, and he has been diagnosed with approximately 6 months to 1 year left to live, and there is no cure, there is no going back. So in just a minute, I'm going to let Julian walk you through the journey of hell that he's been through in the last year, and I'm going to ask that you support him in any way possible through the comments. I'm going to be putting some links for you in the video, and in just a second we'll have Julian on, and he will be able to tell you the story from start to finish. Alrighty, folks. Well, I'm here with my friend Juells, and he's not feeling too good today. You got, what, an hour of sleep, something like that?
Yeah, about an hour.
Okay. So, you've had a hell of a year, health-wise.
Yeah.
You had a motorcycle accident.
GBS.
You came down with the GBS, which is Guillain-Barré syndrome.
Yeah.
Where you were paralyzed from the neck down.
Yep.
You went to the hospital for that, and thankfully you recovered from it.
It's still with me.
Is it?
Yeah, they said it can take as much as a year, so I can tell it, especially when I go to walk, because my bottom of my feet are like still numb.
Okay.
And so they say the last part that goes is the first part that went, so it comes back. So yeah, I'm still dealing with that, plus colds, umbilical hernias. I had pulled back muscle. We thought we wound up having to go to acupuncturist because nobody else could do anything, chiropractors or nobody. So yes, it's been one battle. By the time we think we're over something, it jumps right back again.
And that's not even the worst of it. And unfortunately, we're both going to try to not get too emotional at this point forward, but it's gotten worse. And can you tell the folks what you've been diagnosed with?
Yeah, we, number one, bounced around to several doctors. We could not get a clear answer. We were spending money that we really didn't have, and we weren't getting any clear answers. So we decided to go to Thailand, but unfortunately that didn't work out. It was too much of a trip for me, and the expense, and plus I would have lost my permanent residency because it wasn't complete. It was still under probational. So we decided to go to St. Luke's under the advice of a lot of subscribers and foreigners who have been there. When we went to St. Luke's, I already had an idea. Number one, I had Hep C. It was cured in 2018. I had 1 tumor in the U.S. It was done, resolved. Gave me a pretty good clean bill of health. So we decided to come here in 2022. Kids wanted to go home. They were all born here. So we came here and went to St. Luke's, and St. Luke's told me basically, your liver is failing. You have liver cancer. You have a 6.5, last time we checked, centimeter tumor inside your liver. It's inoperable. Also a blood clot in my liver, and also the one portal vein is closed. So the option for a transplant here in the Philippines is a foreigner cannot receive an organ from a Filipino. It has to be from a direct family member, and I opted out for that. I would never put my family in that position. So also in the CT scans and stuff, they found spots on my lungs, which they didn't do a biopsy, but said it's probably related to the liver. So the cancer has actually started to move into my lungs.
And initially, when I talked to you on the phone, I think yesterday,
Yeah.
you said they found a spot, and they thought it could either be an infection or it could be the cancer.
Yeah.
They couldn't tell without the biopsy.
Exactly.
But what happened to you this morning?
This morning I woke up and I was coughing up a little blood. So it wasn't much, but I know it's a telltale sign of what's coming.
You need a minute?
I'm okay.
All right. What is the prognosis, Jules?
6 months to a year.
Okay.
There is a maintenance.
You want a break?
I'm okay.
Okay.
There is a maintenance oncologists said they can do. It helps maybe stabilize the liver so the tumor doesn't grow any further. But with the lungs, if you treat the lungs, the cirrhosis and the liver cancer is still there. So I've been put through so much. And I don't want my kids to see me go down like that. So anyway, the prognosis, like I say, is about that. So we've been preparing. You know, now it's, I'll have ascites in my stomach, which when I was up there in Manila, they pulled 5 liters of fluid off of my abdomen. So now I've got another infection and it's moved to my groins. It looks like a softball. So we have to go to another doctor here because it's too expensive to go back to Manila. And now it's just coming to terms with what's going to happen.
How does a man come to terms with that? How does this man come to terms with that?
I think we all have to face this at some point, but you look at it like, I still got things I got to finish. Yeah, I have my kids. That's the main thing is my wife and kids. We built this home here. We actually built one in Colorado and we sold everything, came here. We built this home here. We were going to sell it. And we had a couple other properties, so we've sold all that. So we just about exhausted all of our funds, you know, as far as any treatment or whatever we can do in the future.
How much are you into this? I mean, start to finish. Let's go back a year when things started.
When GBS started, it cost us around $15,000, and that's not with follow-ups. That was the medicine to get the GBS where I was walking. Then between motorcycle wrecks, doctor visits, colds, antibiotics, you know, the list went on and on. Trip to Manila. Trip to Manila was not as cheap as I figured. I thought it would be maybe $2,000 to $3,000 because here to remove ascites, it is around $350. Up there, the total bill came to $5,000. I'm going to pause for a second so I can.
Sure, we're going to give a minute. Okay. We'll just pick up from.
That's fine.
We were going over the numbers, I think.
Yeah, going over the numbers. So yeah, total cost of what we've spent is around probably $25,000, which was our bank that we had, you know, in reserve for medical. It goes fast. It's getting a lot more expensive here, even anywhere anymore for medical. So we're down to now just our budget, and we still have some for medications and ascites treatments and, you know, whatever may pop up here as far as maintenance goes.
Mm-hmm. All right, so with the prognosis of 6 months to 12 months, what is your primary concern?
Family.
And what are
Absolutely.
you most concerned about? With your family?
Leaving them behind in this world. You know, it ain't getting better. And I've always been here. I've always been the father as a pillar, you know, and a provider. And now I know they're going to step into a whole another world. And I won't be there as a protector and a husband that can guide his wife and things such as that. So yes, now it's just securing their future, which involves, we've already talked about it in depth, you know, our funds eventually are going to be exhausted. So my wife has a great opportunity still in Colorado. She's on good terms. So probably 1 or 2 of the kids want to go back. 1 or 2 of the kids, you know, want to stay here. So, she says she'll go back and she'll kind of send money and have a family member come over and stay. So that's a lot of stuff that they're going to have to decide afterwards. But hearing a general plan of what's going on, because my youngest son can take care of my wife, basically. Okay. My son Elvis, he's talking about going in the Navy, and if he does, I'd be so proud. If he does, because it'll make a man out of him that, I couldn't fill in the blanks. My daughter, she loves Philippines and she wants to stay here and keep the house and stuff, but she's 17. I don't want her staying up here by herself in any part of the world.
Right.
So, I know I won't know anything afterwards, but now it haunts me. And I try to keep my spirits up. I had a subscriber who said, don't be sad. He said, I'm not religious, number one. Don't be sad. He said, celebrate your life for the things you did, the things you accomplished, the things like my kids' health right now is intact. So with this lesson of what we went through, because I physically cannot travel back to the U.S. and it would be such a production to get an apartment and get furniture and so on and so forth. And in the end, my whole family would be torn apart. So we've elected to all stay together. My wife's going to stay here with me, because she's my right arm, left arm, and my whole life. I mean, I know she hides how she feels about it, but I know it's going to be tragic for everybody. Right. My son, somebody asked my son, they said, what can you say about your father? And they said, he's like the best friend we ever had. And my parents never did that. So I went above and beyond, Sorry for my emotion, but it's hard.
I've observed you.
It's
as
hard.
A loving husband and father.
Yeah.
And I know you live and breathe for all of them.
Yeah, and we've been here on and off for 20 years, and we've never been to vacations. We've never been to Bahal or Boracay or anything. It was just all about, the family and keeping them healthy and sustained and happy. And when you feel like you're carrying the happiness of 4 other people, as long as they're happy, I got peace of mind. I'm content. So that's what I want. As long as they're okay whenever I go, that's the main thing.
Have you had the talk with your kids?
Yes, because I was going to not talk about it, but time I saw their face, it's like a waterfall. It just came out. So yes, I've talked to all of them about it and told them this is a natural part of life. It's not an easy part, by no means. I have my own religion, like I say, in my heart, and I'm not a one-person type religion, but, I do believe in the Bible. I do believe there's a great resurrection. I do believe I'll be back. And I tell them, I said, maybe this is God's plan. Maybe he wants me to go lay a path in front of y'all, and I'm a fighter. So just get me healthy, and I'll fight for whatever I got to. But it's so, you're constantly reminded of it. It's like you wake up in the morning and there's a rock in your pocket. You don't think about it till you reach in there, but it's always there. So you're always reminded. So you always try and get past it if you possibly can, So like I say, it just becomes emotional at certain points. Like this morning when I started coughing up a little blood, my wife said, well, what are we going to do? I said, there's nothing they can do.
Well, I was talking to Richie when we came in.
Yeah.
And there's going to be comments, and it's inevitable that people who care about you are going to try to give you advice.
Yeah.
And they're going to try to advise you to go to America.
I know.
And you've analyzed all of that.
Yep. Back and forth.
It's not financially viable.
Yeah.
And also, she said to me, on my wife, she said he had a hard time walking from the truck to the gate.
Yeah.
Your strength is gone.
Yeah.
And so between the GBS you're in stage 4 cancer.
Yeah.
Right now, it's in your liver.
Yeah.
And it's now progressed to your lung.
The beginning of it looks like, you know, for
Okay.
sure. So one thing that I did do is, you know, I get a lot of advice, but I cover every base.
You did.
I mean, we have went through so many herbal treatments, and, you know, we even had somebody it's a wellness center. I won't call the name, which I would love to, because I think it's not right, but they were given hydrogen peroxide and ivermectin in a bottle that had their own label on it. So, you know, you start it's like you're drowning. When you start drowning, you'll grasp for anything to hold on to. So, you know, I would talk it over with the family. I said, what do you think? They said, Daddy, I'd try it. I would try it. So I did nail down the worst part for me. I told my wife, number one, when I go, I want to be home. I don't want to be in some hospital bed.
Okay.
And number two, I don't want to be in pain. So we found a absolute wonderful oncologist here at Ace Hospital. And she told me, she already wrote me a prescription. She said, I will give you fentanyl patches, which will last 3 days. She said, if the pain increases, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't with liver cancer, but if it gets into the other organs, yes, it will probably be that way. So she said we can do opioids, and she said I can get morphine, which morphine would be the ultimate. My brother, he just died 5 years ago from liver complications, and he had got to the point he was in so much pain in the hospital, and it was nothing they could do. And they said we can either give him a shot of morphine or he's just going to be in pain. And he told him, he said, give me the shot.
So you want hospice care here at home?
Yeah, I mean, and I think we can manage all that between my wife and her family and the Filipinos, because Filipinos are very caring people overall, you know, and so, I mean, we'll manage that. Right now, she's doing everything. I mean, she's driving, she's going to town, she's getting paperwork, she's getting prescriptions, she's on the phone, she's setting up accounts and stuff like that, because I told her, I said, my mind is so full of everything else that I got to deal with what's right in front of me, and this is it. Once the plan is laid and we've almost got it done, then we're just trying to work out the finances now to be able to make this thing work for the next year or year and a half.
Okay.
Once that is in place, I can relax.
Yeah.
I can delete all the videos about cancer. I can stop watching this, stop listening to that, because I know what my plan is. You know, like I say, I've had people say go to India. I've had people say there's hormonal treatment they have in Taiwan. Well, man, I ain't got the money to go to Taiwan, you know?
Here's what I'm going to ask of you guys. Juells has a YouTube channel. What's the name of your channel?
Juells in the Philippines.
Okay. So he is monetized on that. What that means is all those annoying commercials are going to get played. If you will, I'm going to put a link in the description to Juells' channel. If you guys will do two things for us. Number one, subscribe to his channel. And one thing I have to say is, because there's a misnomer out there, when you subscribe to someone's channel, it's free. It doesn't cost a penny. I asked a guy at YouTube one time about that, and he said about 20% of the people are afraid to hit the subscribe button to a channel because they think they're going to get a bill in the mail.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. Subscriptions are free. I'm also going to put a link to Juells' PayPal. If anybody wants to show support, there's two ways that you can do it. There's going to be the link to his PayPal, and there's going to be the link to his YouTube channel. If you will kindly subscribe and kindly watch his videos, that will produce an income for you and your family.
Yeah.
And if you will continue to watch that channel, even after his demise, which I hate to say, that will also generate a constant income stream for his wife and his children. So those are my requests of you guys.
Yeah, and I mean,
nothing is going to come to me directly. It is straight to Juells. And we asked this because when Juells came here, he came here with a plan. And you bought 3 pieces of property.
Yep.
And you built this house on it. You were going to sell it. You decided not to. You moved into it so you could live rent-free.
Yep.
Since then, you've had to dispose of your other 2 pieces of property.
Yep.
Just to stay afloat.
Yep.
Just to keep some shekels in the bank and especially pay for all this stuff.
Yeah. And the
you
future
said 25 grand. I think the number is bigger than that because there's been so many other things that you've done, and you probably have forgotten about.
I haven't.
Because you and I have talked on the phone for almost straight for the last month.
Yeah.
About what's going on, and I will guarantee you, he has looked at and he has exhausted and examined every angle. There was a day we were talking about and setting up an appointment for you to go to Thailand.
Yep.
Because there would be better treatment. But once he figured out and Richie, his wife, did the investigative work of the cost of the airfare, the hotel, the hospital itself.
Yeah,
it was cost prohibitive.
Yeah, even the exchange rate, because we had peso dollars. When we went to change back because of the Philippine rate to the dollar, we were going to lose $2,500 just to change the money to go over there. You know, because we weren't planning on spending it, but I told my wife, I said, while we're there, if they have something, maybe it would be better to try and take care of it while we're there.
Yeah. So we tried that. We looked at that angle. They did, and then ran it by me, and I was all for it. I said, yeah, man, go to Thailand. You know, they got great hospitals.
Yep.
But then when you told me the reality of the exchange of the flight and everything else.
Yep, throwaway tickets and losing permanent residency. And see, that's the thing I was telling everybody. And this is another reason why we're doing this video. This is just not about me.
Nope.
This is about expats. Anybody.
About you.
Yeah, but also expats that come over here and think, we got it, man. You know, we can do. I see this all the time. People say, well, we're concerned about our medical, but I've got $25,000, $50,000. And I said, you just pray and hope that's enough. And especially when you got kids. I mean, I told my wife, I said, what happens if one of the kids gets sick? So that's why with her going back, that she can get back on her insurance. So if my kids do want to stay here, they can always fly back.
Right.
So see, I'm covering way in the future. I got a 9th grade education, voted least likely to succeed, but by God, I'm a marvel of surviving and planning. I always have a plan A, B, and C, you know, so that is theirs. We, like I said, we exhausted all the options, and we said St. Luke's is probably best, because if they do keep me more than a few days, I could get an apartment or something near the hospital and we could do treatment. But like I say, the funds of it, we didn't have it, and it wasn't much treatment left other than kind of maintenance and whatever else would kind of pop up, you know.
Yeah.
And the medicine is expensive. The fentanyl patches are $50 a pop. Mm-hmm. You know, so you do that plus the nutrients that they gave me, the doctors here, those average out about $16 a day on just one of them. So, I mean, we sat down, me and Richie, and we're going to have to come up with like probably an extra 1,000 maybe.
How old are you?
60.
60.
Yeah.
Okay.
So see, we're trying to balance the budget. Plus we've got our monthly budget, which is average around, now that we don't pay rent or whatever, and we cut back, we live in the mountains, so when the rainy season is here, power bill's not that bad. We still pay an average of $1,500 to $2,000 a month, especially if you have a vehicle and you have maintenance, and the kids need clothes for school, and tuition's coming back up.
Yeah.
You know, so man, I mean, these are things here that people don't take into account. So please, I mean, dig in deep on this. I mean, the people that say, oh, come here, man, yeah, and you can live on $1,500 or $1,000 a month. Yeah, if you want to go live in a tree, up in the mountain or something like that with the monkeys, hell yeah, you know, and I've done that. I tried that, you know, and I pulled it off. My wife was pregnant with our first kid, you know, and after 3 months, I was just dog bored. You know, I said, man, I got to get out of here. I'm tired of counting ants on bamboo trees and stuff. We got to do something different. So I knew then I had to go back to America. So we all went. I got all my kids' dual citizenships. I got my wife's citizenship, and that was another massive expense, a whole nother video. But, you know, that's part of the plan to make sure that they can go back to the U.S. and still pick up a job,
Well,
still go to work.
I got to commend you that you've done all the legwork, thought it through from start to finish as to when you do finally depart the planet. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
That your family has some options to exercise. None of them are good. None of them are perfect. So that's the scene. And this is the last video I've ever wanted to do. I came up here dreading this, and I'm dreading it right now. So I'm going to reiterate once again. I'm going to ask you to do Jules a solid, and please subscribe to his YouTube channel. Please give him words of encouragement. I don't think you need any more advice from anybody about go here, go there, drink this herb, take that vitamin. We're kind of past all that, guys.
Yeah.
I know you mean well, and everybody, not everybody, I shouldn't say that, but there's 5% think they're doctors when they're not, and have the magic cure. And then, like I said, I'm just going to unashamedly say it, that I'm going to put a link to his PayPal in there if you'd like to support him during this time of his life, a fellow human being, fellow traveler. He's guilty of being too young. If he was my age, he would have Medicare. If he was 62, he would have Social Security coming in.
Yeah.
He's guilty of being young.
Yep.
And for a 60-year-old man to have 3 teenage children and a beautiful wife, to get this kind of news, I'll end the video with this. What would you think if you were Jules right now? Where would your head be? Where would your mind be? And where would your priorities in life be? Would it be about all your stuff? Would it be about all your things? Or would it be about what Jules is thinking about right now? And that's the welfare and the well-being and the care and the future of his family.
Yeah.
Final words, friend?
Just we'll hang in there. We appreciate all the prayers and stuff that we've been getting and all the support. Thank you so much for listening.
Yes.
You know, I mean, just listening to the story, you know, of what has happened and what can happen. And yes, anything would be greatly appreciated, you know.
Yeah, the last thing I want to do with my brother from another mother here is make an example out of him. But it's happening by default. This can happen to anyone. None of us are exempt. So if you're coming out to a foreign country, make sure you got your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they can watch my former videos. I think we've had a few. And I've never done live streams. I've never done anything for money. Everything is straight from the hip, straight truth. But you can look at the videos before and look at me now, and I have lost an extreme amount of weight.
You sure have.
And if they've got me on heavy antibiotics right now from St. Luke's or whatever, trying to stabilize my liver a little bit. Once I get past that, hopefully, you know, I can start walking a little bit, you know, to just keep my basic strength up. But yeah, we're trying to get out and take little short 20, 30-minute rides through the, you know, around Darwin and get out and spend some time together, because you sit in the house too, you start climbing the walls. You know, I'm so sick of that TV. My God, I could throw it in the swimming pool, I'll tell you the truth, you know.
Well, why don't you do this, Jules? Why don't you do, when you have the strength and you have the energy, post as many videos about your progress as you can on your channel.
Absolutely.
And that way people can go to you every day
Yeah.
and look for an update.
Okay.
And I'm not saying make a video every day unless you have the energy to do
Yeah,
so.
yeah, and I still want to, because everybody says, we understand what you're going through, and I know nobody wants to sit there every day and listen to, basically you're detailing out how you're dying. I mean, all the way down to the cremation part of it. That's a big thing here. Actually, when they bury people here or whatever in a casket, it's a lot cheaper than cremation. So we've talked it over with the kids. We don't want that. I don't want them to see me. So we're going to try and, like I say, pull our budget for cremation. And I told him, I said, you can take me anywhere with you want to go. I'll give you a little necklace and you'll know Daddy will be right there. If you hear something at night singing or whatever, it'll be me, because I'll be back one way or the other. I'll be back.
That's where we're going to end it, guys.